Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to take another trip to the West Coast, California. And we are going to look at something that has mystified many people. What most people think they would encounter in their home. Shadow beings. Sometimes they have a hat, sometimes they don't. And we are going to take a closer look at what people have encountered on the West Coast of California for centuries. Apparently, some residents and travelers of California have reported sighting tall, strange, shadowy beings perched on the mountaintops. Now, this phenomena is actually similar to the sightings of phantom cities in the clouds over China. Of course, they explained it away by claiming it was nothing more than Fata Morgana, an optical illusion. I have a much different theory about what people have been sighting in California. And yes, it has everything to do with dark spirits and fallen angels. The old Spanish settlers of the 1700s had a term to describe these beings: Los Vigilantes Oscuros, the Dark Watchers. The Santa Lucia mountain range, which sits 11 miles from the coast in central California and runs some 140 miles from Carmel to Cuyama River. With its high and steep mountain peaks, it acted as a barrier of the coast for early Spanish explorers. There is a rugged stretch of terrain from Carmel to San Simeon, known as Big Sur. This is where these dark watchers have been seen the most. They are always seen in the distance and vanish whenever anyone points to or draws attention to them. They are described as tall, around 10 feet or so, humanoid figures who are covered in a cloak or cape, showing no skin. They are often described as wearing wide-brimmed hats. Now, I want to stop here, because this is something that seems to be very significant among these types of beings, and I am sure many of you are now wondering why. People sighting the Hat Man in their bedrooms, homes, and urban environments. It is strange for a specter or spirit to wear a hat, but it doesn't seem out of place. The Hat Man in the mountains above the forest. I think for some it sounds a bit out of place. So what is the deal with the hat? So here's the thing. Let's think about this for a moment. What other mythical creature do we know of that wears a hat? What about a gnome? What about a leprechaun? Creatures of the forest. These two beings could be considered elves, or in Germany, the Alp. Now, if you haven't heard of this, an Alp is a type of elf. It is evil and wears a hat, a brimmed hat. Interestingly enough, the word Alp comes from the word Albtraum, or elf dream, or a word we are all familiar with, nightmare. They link the Alp to vampires, and they are known to be shapeshifters. They can change into common animals like cats, dogs, pigs, snakes, even butterflies. They always wear hats, and the hat is actually a magical item, a tarn cap, or cloak of invisibility, or hat of invisibility. And the hat is the one thing that keeps its shape no matter what the Alp mimics. The Alp also has the evil eye, causing bad things to happen to the gazer. There is quite a bit to the lore of the Alp, as we have already made connections to the Hat Man. Now listen to this. The Alp is typically a male being, and often its victims are women. And guess what they like to do? They like to attack at night while their victims are sleeping by giving them nightmares. Sound familiar? It's for that reason that the protections against the Alp would be good luck charms around the bed, a broomstick under the pillow, horseshoes hanging off the bedpost, among other things. Crosses are often used. They say if someone awakens to find the Alp still there, they can ask it to come back in the morning for coffee. The Alp will either return the next morning in its true form, or return looking like a human with eyebrows that meet. A man with eyebrows that meet. That sounds eerily similar to this man. The man that was reportedly seen by people in their dreams. Speaking of old German legends, there is another hatted demon, the Haferman, or Oatman, a fieldgeister or field spirit that waits for passerbys so that it can kidnap children. It uses a throwing stick or iron shillelagh. Sometimes it will stalk its victims, appearing outside of windows as a harbinger of death. Boy, the creeper is looking more and more non-fiction every day. So, back to the Santa Lucia Mountains. These dark watchers are not night creatures, for obvious reasons. So, they like to show up at twilight hours. The stories of the watchers goes back to early Spanish settlers, all the way back to the Chumash people, before the Mexican War. After that, the stories faded. Certain authors would revive the legend, and we find that California is not the only place where beings like this have been spotted in similar terrain. Of course, this is just another case where people can explain it away with the old optical illusion theory. So I guess people just walk around all day with pareidolia and hallucinations, right? Maybe. It is 2021. So let me tell you something about California, folks. How many of you know about magic rituals and explosions? Fire is often used in magic rituals. Why? Fire releases energy. So an explosion releases massive amounts of energy. The bigger the explosion, the more energy that is released and the more effective the ritual. Are you guys aware of the amount of nuclear testing that has occurred in the deserts of Nevada and California? How many of you know a guy named Aleister Crowley? Yeah, you know Crowley. You know him, right? Well, once upon a time, he founded a church, the Church of Thelema, an old cult using rituals to summon ancient Egyptian deities. Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard's neighbor, was a participant, a rocket scientist and co-founder of the Rocket Research Group, which became the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. And Parsons was expelled from the JPL due to his unorthodox working methods. In other words, his passion for blowing things up was rooted in these magic rituals, which, by the way, involved the use of English and Enochian. English is actually older than what many people think. This combination of English and Enochian was considered to be the language of the angels. Let me ask you all a question. Where is Bohemian Grove located? Where is Burning Man located? Where is Area 51 located? Where is Hollywood located? Where is Death Valley? Where is the Devil's Pit, Devil's Slide, Devil's Punch Bowl, Devil's Chair, and Devil's Post Pile, which is a national monument, by the way? There's devils something all over that place. California is on top when it comes to the most haunted states next to Texas. That desert area of California, Nevada, has a long history of ritual magic and conjurings of all sorts. with the Native Americans in that area and probably before that, because they had to learn it from someone or something. There's a bunch of abandoned mines and ghost towns. You've got the coast nearby. You have sunny weather. Well, not anymore. But it's perfect for a spirit. There's a city of angels, and Sin City is literally one highway away. I mean, this is not... Why do you guys think there is so much going on in that area in the Middle East? Always conflict. Home of ancient Babylon. By the way, Parsons was out of his mind. He tried to summon a female spirit mate. After he met a real woman, which he accredits to his magic rituals, he got big-headed and thought he could somehow summon the Scarlet Woman, Babylon, the mistress of the beast, who he knew about from Crowley's The Book of the Law. So, back to the Santa Lucia Mountains again. The Dark Watchers, these beings are just as elusive as Bigfoot and UFOs. They are there for a short moment and then they vanish. So they are just as luring as the other two. And this should be an indicator to everyone that these Dark Watchers are nothing more than the beings we have been dealing with all along. The tactics never change. They are masters of seduction, and they can cause people to wonder and then desire. Thomas Steinbeck published a book in 2013, In Search of the Dark Watchers, where he writes about Olive Hamilton's mother, who not only saw the Dark Watchers, but interacted with them by leaving them small items like fruits, nuts, flowers. And she said that they reciprocated the gesture. Most people who encounter them say they do nothing. They just watch. And people do not report bad things happening as a result of seeing them, like you would expect. They are just apparitions, harmless to the common passerby. That is, until you go looking for them. There is more to come. Until next time, folks, sleep well. And as always, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe from these lures of darkness. And I'll talk to you all soon.